Hi everyone, today I'm here to talk about The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I already gave the book back to my friend who let me borrow it, which was really nice of him. And yes, I love The Hobbit. I thought it was great. I thought it was so fun. I think if you're interested in getting into Lord of the Rings, I would start with The Hobbit. And I just want to say, like, from the get-go though, that it is way different from the Lord of the Rings books. I feel like, how do I put this? Well, J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Hobbit as a kid's book, and I definitely feel like it's more of a kid's book than the Lord of the Rings trilogy is, for sure. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like if a kid read this, they totally wouldn't understand what's happening. I feel like it was maybe written for like older teens, because I feel like if you read it and you're younger than that, like maybe even 12 and up might understand it. But I feel like it's not like a kid's book. Like reading it with your 7-year-old, they might not understand what's happening in The Hobbit. But I thought it was super fun. I totally loved it. I think it was very much a kid's book in the sense that something new happens in every chapter. Like, oh, this is the beginning where, Bilbo starts his adventure, and then, oh, in the next chapter there's trolls, and in the next chapter there's a scary dark forest with spiders, and then in the next chapter they're captured by elves and things like that. And so I think in that way it very much is like a kid's book, but like I said, I feel like it's definitely for a more mature audience. And not even that because like the subject material is like super mature and you need to be mature to understand fantasy and dragons and fights that's happening, but just to understand his writing, I feel like you have to be a little older, because I did read The Hobbit when I was in, I want to say elementary school, like maybe 5th grade, and I totally did not understand what happened. I remember there was a dragon, and that there's going to be spoilers, by the way, so if you haven't read The Hobbit, go read The Hobbit. There's a dragon and some guy shoots it with like some magical arrow at the end, and Bilbo has a riddle game with Gollum. And that's basically was my understanding of The Hobbit, but there is just so much more to it. There's a lot more layers, there's a lot more happening. And I highly suggest it. Like I said, it's just kind of a fun adventure where something new happens every chapter, and he's just kind of like dudding along. Like, here we are. Oh no, the goblins. Oh no, the dragon. And I just kind of liked it. Like, it was a fun, quick read for me. Sorry. I think there's something in the air that I must be allergic to. I was like sneezing like crazy before I recorded. But yeah, it made me want to go adventure again, because Bilbo was off on an adventure, and yes, it was perilous, and yes, it was scary, but at the end he comes back, and he's home again, and he's a changed person, but he has this sense of adventure that never leaves him, and you get that vibe more in like the Lord of the Rings and the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, which I will be reviewing right after this and posting next week, because I also just finished reading the Fellowship of the Ring. So, and I totally get that. Like, I get that sense of adventure. I get having gone off on adventures and coming back and just like not being satisfied. Like, you want more. You want to go out again. You want to adventure more. And I totally, totally get that feeling. So, that was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was fun to feel again, but it was kind of like, oh, I need to go on another adventure sometime soon, because like my heart is yearning for it. And that's what I really loved. I feel like The Hobbit is about going on an adventure and realizing how that can change you, because the hobbits in The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they just kind of stay in the Shire, and that's their thing, and that's like totally fine. But I feel like when you go out beyond your world, when you go beyond your front door, when you go out on adventure, like whether or not it's all good or all bad, like you learn from it. And I feel like it really expands your worldview. You can understand people better. You have like a better sense of place, of how things work, of how different cultures are, yet how we're all the same type thing. And so I just like highly encourage people to go out on adventures. And that doesn't have to mean you're spending thousands of dollars going to Europe or whatever. Just explore what's in your town, like see what's there, see what all the cool artist people are doing, like go to the library, because sometimes they have craft fairs. Like, it doesn't always have to be this grand thing where you're flying for hours or driving for hours to go see something. I feel like there's adventure all around us, and we should take advantage of that. And that's what I felt when reading The Hobbit. And I really enjoyed it. I would totally love to read like a original manuscript of it, which I think they do sell some online, so I'll probably invest in one, because I know when J.R.R. Tolkien started writing The Lord of the Rings, and when those were published, he kind of went back and rewrote a bit of The Hobbit. Mostly it was the scene between Gollum and Bilbo when they're having like that riddle game, and J.R.R. Tolkien kind of realized that he needed to change Gollum and Smeagol's character a little bit to fit more with The Lord of the Rings, and with the ring that Bilbo has being the One Ring. And I find that fascinating, you know, that he wrote The Hobbit and was kind of like, yep, and Bilbo has a magic ring. And then it's like, oh, when he starts writing Lord of the Rings, no, it's like the One Ring. Like, this is where I've decided to go with this story, so I'm going to have to go back and change some things. So I would like to go back and read like an original version where Gollum isn't as scary or as, I'd say, like menacing, or not as upset, you know, that Bilbo has the ring at the end and is still willing to show him like the way out because he won the riddle game. I think that'd be really interesting to see what J.R.R. Tolkien changed to fit with the Lord of the Rings narrative. But yeah, you should definitely go read The Hobbit if you're thinking of getting into Lord of the Rings. And like I said, it's way different than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I'll get into that more when I talk about the Fellowship of the Ring and how that is way different than The Hobbit. But in a good way, like not even in a good way, because I like both of them. Like, they're both really good. I enjoyed both of the books, but just in like a different way, and interesting to see how J.R.R. Tolkien's writing kind of changed from in between The Hobbit, which was published almost 20 years before the Fellowship of the Ring, and then seeing how just different the story was in the Fellowship. So keep tuned for that. I'll release that next week. And my question for this week is, what adventures have you gone on this week? What'd you do? Did you do something fun? Did you go somewhere new, try a new restaurant, go to a new place in town? I went swimming at Lake Mead this week, and that was really nice. And just, I've been there before to go swimming, but it was just kind of nice, a nice little foray out of town to go back and just relax and be in a little bit of nature and have a good swim. So that was my little adventure this week. And thank you all for listening. What do you think about The Hobbit? Do you like it? I know some people don't like it as much compared to Lord of the Rings, so I'm curious because I enjoy so far all of his works that I've read. So go ahead and comment down below. Have you read The Hobbit? Are you thinking about reading it? What did you think? Did you like it? Do you like The Hobbit, or do you like the Lord of the Rings trilogy more? Just let me know down below. And subscribe. I leave book reviews whenever I can. Just depends on how much time I have to read books. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.